Hello, I'm Grandma A.G. Bear, and although I usually talk on the telephone all day, I've arranged for time away so I can stop and say, oh, I get that awful rhyming from Grandpa A.G. He likes to act silly, so when something really needs to be said, I say it. He'd say that I talk even when nothing needs to be said, but that's just because Grandpa is cranky. I want to tell you that I'm very glad to be here with you. I do like seeing people in person. In fact, I see them a few times in person, and then, if they become a friend, I usually stop seeing them and we talk on the telephone. You know, Grandpa A.G. imagines things. He thinks that there are times when all the birds and bees and animals on the ground and in the trees, there I go again. He thinks that the whole forest, when nobody is looking, turns into a big stage. He thinks that the stars shine down like spotlights and that there's singing and dancing, that a big party goes on at night. Quite frankly, so many animals are so different from each other that I don't see how he thinks so many of them can be dancing partners. Can you imagine a squirrel dancing with a lion? He's seen too many of those cartoons where the animals suck in their breath and become very small, or where the lion will put up with a squirrel hopping up on its nose. We swat at flies, so don't you think that a lion would swat at a squirrel on its nose? I have lived in this world for a long time, and I'm sure of one thing. It is not easy to find a good dancing partner. You might get so frustrated that you'd want to hop on somebody's nose, but that's another matter. And it is much more socially acceptable to call someone on the phone than to jump on them. That's another thing I'm sure of. Grandpa just likes to pretend that the world is a lovely, fun-filled place. Actually, it has become such a difficult place that in some cities, if you want to talk beyond the time that's allowed on a public telephone, they make you deposit more money. You can bet that if telephones took chocolate chip cookies instead of change, Grandpa would be as upset about the situation as I am. I notice that he doesn't contribute chocolate chip cookies to these parties in the forest that he's always going on about. As far as he's concerned, the animals can eat nuts and berries. I consider myself to be a very practical bear. You know the way boys and girls have bedtime stories read to them before they go to sleep? Well, I read a lot during the day, so at night I like to call a friend and talk about my day. And of course I listen to what happened to them during their day, too. We talk just the way you and I are talking now. And sometimes while I talk, I do a little dance. You can dance with yourself if you don't have a dancing partner, you know. The same way you can talk to me if one of your friends isn't around. I do the box step. You've heard of the box step? Well, my first box step was when my foot hit the side of the package when you lifted me out of the box, but that isn't really what the box step is. You stand with your feet together, and then you slide your right foot to the side and touch the other foot to it. Then you step back and bring the other foot down. Then you step to the side again, make your feet meet. Don't worry, I'm not going to start rhyming like Grandpa A.G. And then you step forward back to where you began and bring your back foot up to meet your other foot. It's difficult to explain, which is why dancing is more fun to do than to talk about. And of course, if you get very involved in dancing, you might start singing or even pull the telephone plug out of the wall, and then your friend would be mad at you. People always want to think that you're listening to everything that they say. They get offended if you're not concentrating. I try very hard to concentrate. Grandpa A.G. is always getting off the subject, but I do try to concentrate myself. I buy concentrated orange juice to remind me that it's good to concentrate. See if you can remember how I work so you can play with me any time you want. You don't need anything special to talk to me and have me talk back. I also connect with the standard earphone jack, though, so if you want, you can plug me into your radio or stereo or TV, and I can offer a running commentary on what's going on. Grandpa says that if I really went running, I'd get good exercise and I wouldn't be talking all the time. But don't you think, from all those stories you've heard, that bears are on the run too much? You know, a bear will be caught going through somebody's camp, and the people will hear it and start yelling, and the bear will suddenly be running off terrified. I can tell you there are as many bears who never got to finish the peanut butter as there are boys who go to a dance and lose their nerve and just run out the back door. Last week, my grandson A.G. Bear went to a dance, and he got very shy and whispered to someone, "Can you bear to dance with me?" And the person answered, "I'm afraid I can't bear anything because I'm a zebra." That made me mad when I heard it, because I think everybody should try to get along, particularly when they're about the same size and it's unlikely that any jumping on noses is going to go on. I have so many stories about the real world that it irritates me when Grandpa always wants to talk about what he imagines is happening in the forest. I can tell you that most animals are not spending all their time cavorting. Most of them are very busy with their work. When they have a chance to rest, as my little friend around my neck does, they take the opportunity. I'm equally sure that the flowers on my hat are enjoying not having to blow in the breeze for a while, and that it's nice for them not to have noisy insects buzzing around all day. I'm starting to sound cranky like Grandpa A.G., so I'm going to take a deep breath, calm down, and say what I have to say. If you want to hug me, I like that. If you have another pet, I'll meet your dog or cat. You and I'll know BearTalk, just between us two. You'll understand, I'll understand, and maybe they'll learn too. If you whisper very low, I may not move my lips. If we dance, I'll have fun, though I don't move my hips. Put me in your bed at night, and I'll sleep too. Tell me bedtime stories, I'll tell them to you too. And when someone calls you, please take me to the phone. It's one of my very favorite things, and who wants to be alone?